which is more valuable, the DeMeco dust or the CJ spell? Which one do you think is more valuable, which causes you to lean potentially in the other direction when it comes to bringing guys in?
First of all, I should have trademarked DeMeco Pixie Dust, but that's neither here nor there. This might surprise you. I think I'm going to take the other side from you. I think it's DeMeco Dust, and let me explain why. He can take mediocre and has taken mediocre players. Not that CJ hasn't helped what was considered a mediocre receiving core going into the year. We talked about it, maybe even below mediocre. But I think players elevate their game from the track record that they already have.
Okay.
And he's done it in San Francisco as the head coach with Matt Burke, of course. The guys that have elevated their games to places they've never been in their career. And that's mediocre players. And you need those guys. Like CJ's a star. And he has his own version of pixie dust. What do you call it? The spell, the CJ spell. That is really strong. And I don't think there's a wrong answer here. But as great as he is, I think it still all emanates from DeMeco. Even a little bit on the offensive side.
I would say I would kind of cop out and say both.
Yeah.
I think it can work both ways. I would say that DeMeco Pixie Dust. Someone brings up a good point on the text line. Did it work with Jalen Petrie?
Well, that's something that we may talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, did it really work with Jalen Petrie? Did it?
Well, here's the thing. The fact that it didn't work with Jalen Petrie, but worked with a number of other players, that might be more of an indictment of Jalen Petrie. Like when you look at what Steven Nelson did, what Derek Stingley became, what Jimmy Ward did, even players like Desmond King and Houston Carson and Kadar Holman, that's pixie dust. I think it's more of an indictment of Petrie than the pixie dust not working, because it worked on all these other guys and it didn't work on Petrie. I want to get into that tomorrow.
Let's hear that shot. Let's hear how it could have sounded. Play just Sean's part on the second part, and let's get right into it. Let's pretend like he's setting us up.
Okay. You want to go first or me?
Yeah, I'll go first. Let's pretend he's setting it up.
Let me give you from this perspective. If you're Nick Caserio, and you go, okay, I've got X amount of dollars to spend here. I want to make a splash. Do I do it at skill positions where I feel like, I don't know, CJ might be, I don't know that I need to go splurging at skill positions. CJ can raise the level of guys. Or do I look at the defense and go, I don't know, man, DeMeco can make average guys look a whole lot better. If I'm Nick, how does that prism affect, how does that affect your spending if you're Nick? Are you more likely to just trust the DeMeco dust or more likely to trust what CJ does when it comes to making splurges and going and getting
That's
guys?
a damn good topic, Sean. That's a really good question. So for me, I would say it's kind of a balance. I think at receiver with Nico and Tank, I don't think you necessarily have to swing for the fences. But at running back, CJ can't really make a running back better. The Texans can play well, but CJ can't necessarily make a running back better. So I would say in that area, you got to go heavy. But I think DeMeco does need to get someone that he can take under his wing on his defense, particularly in that front seven to put along with Will Anderson. But I think the good thing about this roster, and to answer your excellent question, maybe indirectly, I think there's a balance of the two things. I don't know that you necessarily have to choose between either one.
Well, Sean, I think I'm going to go with DeMeco. And the reason is he can make below mediocre players good. He can make good players great. He can make great players have career seasons. And that's just not, that we've seen that time and again, whether it was San Francisco or wherever. And we saw it this past year. Now, that's not to say that C.J. Stroud is a chump and doesn't have his own, magic, pixie dust, whatever you want to call it. But I think because he's so great, just automatically great quarterbacks make people around him better. DeMeco,
but can you ask him to do too much? There is the danger, Sean. Sean, back to that excellent question. There is danger in Indianapolis. I felt like Indianapolis, you don't want to go too far one direction. And I think that's the thing. You don't want to rely on Andrew Luck to get you to a certain point and then ignore and neglect what Andrew Luck may need. So I do think you don't want to take too much for granted what a quarterback can do.
Yeah. But I still am going to lean DeMeco because of what he can do collectively on the defense. I mean, one word, really, swarm. He came in and he said swarm, and probably in the first 5 minutes of his press conference. And they swarmed. They bought into what he was doing on the defensive side. And I actually think that he affects the offensive side as well, obviously, as the head coach, and helps those guys, even though he's not day-to-day helping the offensive players. I think he helps them just collectively with their mindset.
Biggie, what are you going with? Do you like this question?
I do. I think it was a pretty easy question.
Yeah, it's a good topic, isn't it?
Yeah,
I like it.
Take a side, man.
Appreciate you, Sean.
Yeah, I will probably lean more on CJ. The spell dust, whatever he said.
Spell. CJ spell. DeMeco.
I'll lean more on that. The only thing is, I do think they need to get a really good running back.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have to swing for the fences as far as like receivers and stuff like that. I think he could make a lot of average receivers way better than they really are.
Yeah, and I mean, I think over time, like even in the muck of things, the investments you're starting to realize, man, kind of invested a lot here. Like on the offense, all the investments on the offense. Well, that was a long time ago, but you invested a lot in Laramie Tunsil, and they paid Laramie Tunsil. You invested a lot in Titus Howard on top of a first-round pick. You invested in Kenyon Green. So you've kind of like, it's new with C.J. Stroud, but you're hoping to start to get like some return on investments there.
Yes. And I think with C.J. Stroud, like, he helped, and Sean mentioned Nico. Clearly, Nico had the best year that he's had. Noah Brown had his moments. Other players had their moments. But didn't help the run game, until Devin Singletary got in there. So I think I'd lean the other way.
God, Sean was so disappointed, man. Hey, it wasn't all for nothing, though, man. We got your back.
We got it. It's a great topic.
We got your back. Text line 281. I'm with Figgy. No need to invest in Evans. The 281. I'm saying CJ. He made Noah Brown a stud when he was healthy, and Nico was a superstar. The 346, we have to get dudes on defense. CJ, Tank, Nico, plus great defense is, he said it, Super Bowl.
There you go.
I do think they need to update a little bit of the receiver position, but I wouldn't be mad if they miss out on Mike Evans. They do need an upgrade from Noah Brown. And
they do need an upgrade, yes.
Yeah, they need to see if somebody could take over for Mechie. But I wouldn't be pissed if they missed out on Mike Evans.
Text line 713. This always happens after the Super Bowl. You start to kind of compare yourself to that squad. Chiefs won the Super Bowl because of Mahomes and Chris Jones. We have our Mahomes. We need our Chris Jones. Could that be Will Anderson?
Yeah.
No?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
No. Yeah.
But you could also get a Chris Jones type of person because, you got the money to do it while Will Anderson is on the rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's a fun time, man. You really don't have to. The crazy thing about this offseason, this is not going to be the case. You really don't have to pick one side or the other. Like, it's like.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, but eventually, like, we're going to get to a point 3 years down the line where it's like, well, we got to let this guy go, or we got to let that guy go, or we got to do this. We're not there yet.
Yeah, we're sitting here going, who's more awesome, DeMeco or CJ?
Yeah.
I don't care. Whatever you say.
Where do we want to spend all this money? What about these other players?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a unique offseason. All off seasons are different. This one is fun. Shout out to Sean Pendergast for the great CJ DeMeco question.